Hello, this is Ed Keay-Smith from the Business Marketing Show, here with the co-host of the show, Mr. Brendan Tully. Hello, Brendan. How are you?
How are you?
It's good, mate. And we have a special guest on the show today, waving her hands, Jo Botting from jobotting.com. And that's J-O, not J-O-E, for those who want to have
That's
Botting.
right. That's right.
Botting
that's right.
with two T's. Welcome, Jo.
Thank you, Ed. Nice to meet you today, Brendan.
You too.
Yes, this is the first time introduction for these guys.
Ed has promised me lots of stories today. So
Lots of stories. Jo and I have met a few years back at the Netpreneur Summit in Japan.
Yes.
We spent some time together. We did some sightseeing together, went inside a big Buddha together, which sounds
belly
weird.
from the inside.
We were inside the big belly of the Buddha.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to know Jo there, and we've kept in touch on and off. And I did have some misinformation because Jo was spending some time living in Thailand for a while, and I thought she was still there. And as it ends up, she's been back in Perth for the last 18 months or so, and I didn't know. And she was completely ignoring me. So thanks, Jo.
Okay. You're forgiven. You're forgiven. The truth of that story.
We're making up for it. So Jo has got a fascinating story of her entrepreneurial life in terms of what she's been working at and her experience in the digital/online space. And one of the areas, this is just one, she does many things, but one of the areas that she has excelled in and has had very good success with is using Meetups, the platform Meetups, to generate a tribe, for a bit of a name, or a following and business that comes from that process.
Absolutely.
So we're going to find out from Jo how she does that. She runs workshops on how to do it as well, so it's something people can always go and learn from Jo. And she's also going to be talking about her future of online course creation that she'll be doing in 2019. So we'll catch up with Jo about that stuff later. But first of all, Jo,
yes,
I'd like to get a backstory, because you weren't instantly an entrepreneur. Well, sometimes, a lot of people are instantly an entrepreneur the minute they're born, I believe.
Oh, very true. Yes, some are. I wasn't.
No. And then that's it. Some people, they realise that's what they're supposed to be doing, and that's what ends up happening. I'm one of those people. I think I've always had some sort of entrepreneurial spirit in me, but then it wasn't until I was much older that I decided to do what I'm doing. But I think with you, Jo, you've had a similar experience. So let's step back. Before you even became an entrepreneur and worked on what you're doing now, what was your life like, just going through quickly from leaving high school? Did you go to university or anything like that? It's only a few years ago. Come on.
No. I remember those days very well. I hated school with a passion. And so I remember when I was in year 10 at high school here in Perth, and moving into year 11 and 12, the principal asked for a meeting with my parents, as you do.
You too.
I thought it was a meeting to give me all my class schedule for the following year, but instead he said, "We don't want her back."
Jo, you bad girl.
Okay. No. Let me rephrase that. He said that it was very unlikely that I would knuckle down and study and get great results for my exams. So there was no point me even doing the 2 years, and no point my parents wasting all that money. So he said, "Thank you, but there's the door," very nicely. And I was sitting
What
there.
school? What school was this? Was this a private school?
Yeah.
Hence the wasting money bit. I'm saying government schools, not much wasting money there, but what school? Come on, tell us what school it was.
Sacred Heart in Sorrento.
Oh, okay. So a good old Catholic school.
Yeah, good old Catholic school.
Yeah.
So my parents were immediately thinking, yay, we've just saved, maybe about $7,000, because this was about 5 years ago. And there's me thinking, yay, I'm free. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
So from then I actually went to business college in the city. I went to Olympia Business College.
Good old Olympia. Lots of typing and clerical stuff from memory. Yep.
I excelled at shorthand writing, and I excelled at cheating on my typing test, so that I walked out of there with about almost 60 words per minute. I could literally really only do about 32.
Okay. Shorthand is a good skill, I think. I don't know whether it is today or not, but I think taking notes personally would probably be handy.
Yeah. And so after doing a year of business college, I then went in to work for Westpac. So I was there for only a couple of years. My first port of call, which was awesome, was in the international department as a foreign currency teller up in St. George's Terrace.
Okay.
So that was...
I don't normally ask people their age. I'm just curious because my sister worked there for many years, but she's older than you. So,
I don't know.
I'm trying to be delicate here. Okay, no, you don't know her. She's turning 60 next week, so she's a lot older than you.
Yes,
Okay.
a lot older than me. A lot
All right.
older.
You weren't there at the same time. That's okay. Keep going.
Okay, so worked for Westpac for a couple of years, and then I also started working at Burswood during my off hours, because Burswood, just as a waitress, was incredible money back then. So I saved up enough money to go off traveling, which I did for around about 6 months, and then came home and kind of fell into a relationship and started having family very, very early, which was good. It's what I wanted to do.
Cool.
So fast forward a couple of years, found myself living down in Denmark, down south near Albany.
Mm-hmm.
And I've only recently moved from there. So my home was there for around 20, 21 years, raised my 3 children down there. So that was a really great experience. As life throws us curveballs, I found myself needing to remove myself from a not so good relationship. And so then I was basically raising my 3 kids on my own, and doing whatever it took to bring income in and to be there for my kids. And I guess that's where a bit of my entrepreneurial journey started, because I soon realized that if you own your own business and subcontract yourself out, you pay a whole lot less tax. So that's what I focused on. And it also gave me that flexibility to fit in with the kids and attend sports days and only work school hours, etc., etc.
Yeah, it's a big job. Look, I have been a co-parent of one child, which was challenging enough, and she was an easy child, and it was a sort of 50-50 split partnership in terms of raising her.
Yeah.
So someone in your scenario with 3 kids, that's a lot of work and a lot of juggling.
A lot of juggling. So probably when things really started to turn serious was I was working for one of the wineries down there as an office admin, and they said to me, hey, why don't you get your finance broker license, because she was a finance broker, and come and work for us. So I thought that was a really great idea. And I, to be honest, I'm actually the type of person that gets bored really quickly.
Right.
So for me, that was great. Something new to focus on, a new skill to learn, and to expand my knowledge and, open up new horizons for my future. However, when I did my study, and just after I qualified and got all my certification, about 3 months after that, the banks really started clamping down on no doc and low doc loans, even more than they have now.
Right.
So then what we found ourselves was running all around the Great Southern, driving for hours and hours, visiting people, only to find that, we couldn't get the loans through. They either had a bad credit history,
right,
or the fact that you could no longer get no doc loans through. So it became a really, really tough market.
Yeah. Yeah, even worse now. I know a few people who've been in the game, and it's the toughest they've ever seen it.
Yeah, absolutely. So from then so what happened was I was affiliated with a company here in Perth. I was in the Albany office, and the big boss flew down one day, and I thought, oh, he's not due to come for a visit. I wonder what this is all about. And he said to me that they were closing the Albany office because it just wasn't covering costs, and that there was a job for me up in Perth. And they would pay to relocate me. But at the time, I still had 2 kids in school. And so I said, there's no way I'm even going to consider it. I'm not moving to Perth. And you know, moving the kids, etc. So I pretty much got retrenched in that situation. Then I had a really great idea. I was in a relationship with somebody, and we decided to buy a restaurant down there and open up a restaurant.
That's a great idea, Joe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, you're just going to manage it, and all the staff are going to do the work, and you're going to have all the shifts covered, and you're going to have amazing chefs. Yeah. So that was me covering the shifts.
My equivalent of a nightmare.
It was worse than you could possibly imagine.
Oh, my.
So we did the restaurant so well. We had people driving from Perth just to come down for the weekend to eat at the restaurant. It was
awesome.
Popular. We had
what was the name of it? I may have even eaten there.
It was called the Healthy Buddha Bar.
Oh, that's right, the Healthy Buddha Bar. Yes, I'm pretty sure I've been down there.
Really?
Yeah, I know that because we used to go down south like 2 or 3 times a year.
All right.
Always down. It was in Denmark.
Yep. It was in an old haunted house just 2 streets back from the main street. Yeah,
it rings a bell. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
That's okay.
I'm sure there's people who are listening to this who have been there.
So we had the capacity, hope the Denmark Shire aren't watching this, but we had the capacity for about 36 seats.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to pack that place 110, 120 people
Whoa.
for dinner.
That's huge.
Yeah. When I say popular, it was popular. But that took a very heavy toll on my personal health, my mental health, and I got to the point with staff issues, continual staff issues. Now, the guys down in Denmark that helped us out and worked for us, they were amazing, but we couldn't have enough staff, and anybody that came down from Perth, they would only stay for a week or 2 and then they'd quit and go back to Perth. So
yeah.
We ended up closing it because basically I said, I'm walking away, so you can have this or you can decide what you want to do. I'm off to Tasmania.
As you do.
So, as I do, yes. At the time, my son was living in Tassie, and the following year he was going to be doing year 11 and 12 of school. So I decided I'm going to move to Tasmania for those 2 years and be there and support him through, you know, that transition phase from school kid to big adult man.
Mm.
So I found myself in Tassie, and funny enough, I was applying for jobs. I knew the work situation in Devonport was horrific. I didn't understand how horrific it actually was. And I couldn't even get an interview to work at the reject shop. So
right. That's discouraging.
That's discouraging.
No interview at the reject shop for Joe.
I was rejected by the reject shop.
That tests your spirit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Dear,
the funny thing was I didn't want a job. You know, at that point I was totally unemployable because I had worked my own hours for so many years.
Yeah.
And I loved the freedom. So I happened to be, I was doing a bit of research. There was a whole trend around working online and creating businesses, etc. And I was on Facebook, and a friend of mine dropped a link to watch a webinar that went for 2 hours, but I just had this incredible feeling that this was it. This is what I was able to do, and I didn't need to go for any more job applications in places in Tassie. And I whipped out my credit card and paid $2,000 before the webinar was over, and that began my journey with affiliate marketing.
Okay, can you tell us what the webinar was and what you spent the $2,000 on? Okay,
it was a webinar that showed what affiliate marketing model was.
Mm-hmm.
So where you buy a license, so you buy the rights to promote somebody else's products.
Mm-hmm.
You promote it, you can brand yourself inside of the platform, build your own website, and you get a commission for every sale that you make.
So it's white labeled, basically.
I guess, yeah.
That was a fairly common thing. Still is, but...
What year was that, Joe?
That was, what are we? That was 2013. So we're going back 5.5 years.
Right.
And so I fell into this and I absolutely found my passion. I loved it. I loved the learning. I loved, all aspects of it. There was no way you can get bored by doing this type of business. So, and then a few months into that, there was a mastermind event happening in Fiji, and I decided I wanted to go over and learn all I could. So I jumped in with about another $20,000 spend.
Whoa, that's some serious coin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Not that I had that. That was we were able to pay that off over 12 months.
Okay. And who was it? You haven't said who this affiliate program. Are you happy to share who it was?
Yeah, this is with Matt Lloyd, my online business empire.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Yep. Keep going.
So there I was in Fiji, and I found my passion. I found my dream job, and I found a way I could earn income and have that flexibility and travel the world. And so began my journey. Now, the whole crux of my business from where I am now, and the reason why I am where I am now, is because while I was paying off that $20,000 purchase, which was about 32 Aussie back then,
yeah,
I had very little money to pay rent and food and living expenses, let alone any money for paid marketing. So I had to find a way to make the business work to generate sales without running Facebook ads. And that is exactly what I managed to do. So I learned how to connect with people on Facebook, how to find out exactly what they need. So ask them very specific questions, and then offer them a solution, but not until I had built a relationship with that person and generated sales. So after about month 3 or 4, I was doing really well. I was doing minimum one platinum sale a month, which was $10,000 commission back to me.
Nice.
Yeah. So everything was going really great doing that. And I just kept doing what I learned how to do. Even though I had income coming in and I was able to dabble around with Facebook ads, there was really no need for me to do it because the strategy I came up with worked every single time.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So around about a year after doing that, and traveling the world, that year I went to Fiji, Mexico. The following year I went to Costa Rica for 3 months. That cost me about another $30,000 just to go over and work with those leaders for that amount of time. People started asking me how I was getting great results and asked me to show them. So I just started showing people. I started teaching them what I was doing. I created a Facebook group, popped everyone in there, and I just shared my strategy, and other people started getting results as well.
Okay, and you were just doing that from your good heart. You weren't charging.
No.
Okay.
No.
Just checking.
Yeah, but then the number of people that wanted help just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I decided to, and another key thing as well, there's a very high percentage of people who want help for free, but
yes,
there's also a very high percentage of those people who are not prepared to put in the time and the effort to get the results.
Of course. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I also, one of those conventions, one of those masterminds, I was able to sit down and spend some time with Vince Reed. You've probably heard of Vince Reed. No,
don't know who Vince Reed is. Do
okay.
you, Brendan?
No, can't say I do.
Please explain.
Vince Reed, Keay-Smith, all of these guys flew out from the US to attend these masterminds, and these were really, really big marketers in the time, like Mark Hoverson, Ray Sugarman, the blue blocker guy.
Yeah. Yep. The blue blocker sunglasses guy. Yep.
So we're talking this caliber.
Mm-hmm.
And Vince went on to create MITS, my online traffic system, I think it was called.
Right.
Like, we're talking millions per year in generated business.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me a piece of advice, and he said to me this day, I've actually got a photo of him and I with this, having this exact conversation. And he said to me, you have very specific skills and you have a very specific drive and ambition. So don't be the miner mining for gold. Instead, be the store owner that owns all of the tools that the miners need.
Yeah.
You be the store owner, sell the picks and the shovels.
Yeah, that was the people who made the most money in those scenarios were typically those people, not the gold miners.
Exactly.
Very true.
That was probably my biggest light bulb moment that I've had in my business history.
Yeah.
So from that point on, I think I started charging maybe $50 a month to be coached by me. And again, that grew and grew and grew to the point where I was charging about $500 a month to be inside my premium Facebook group. And I started creating online courses. So, you know, the model of having that residual income coming in, where you're able to offer people entry into an online membership area.
Yeah.
And then help them, bring them on board as a premium client, whereas you've got, you know, a couple of hundred people going through your program, and it alleviates a lot of that time. So
it's a really good business model, actually. It's one that a lot of people try to duplicate. So yes.
So that's really been my passion. My passion's been about helping people on an individual basis. I'm really passionate about building online programs. You know, as Instagram got bigger, I just created a little Instagram program, pop some modules in a members area and sell that for $67. So always had these different income streams coming in.
Yep.
And that's really how I got to where I am now. So working one-on-one with clients, but that's the whole basis of the journey.
Yeah, and you had some challenging times, and one of the things you share in some of your live presentations that I've been to, is the bones of your bum bit. The living out of your car for a little while. That was a challenging time. Do you mind sharing how that all came about?
Sure. And, you know, what I want to point out is that every business owner has challenges, and every business owner has plateaus and moments of despair.
Of course.
And in order to get through those moments, you've really just got to trust in the process and trust in yourself. But a few years ago, I found myself living in Thailand. I was going over for 3 months. I ended up being over there for 1.5 years. And the pivotal moment in that, I guess, is breaking up out of that relationship while I was in Thailand and he was still here in Australia. And having some, communication challenges to the point where he decided to basically describe me in a very untruthful way across all of my YouTube videos one night while I was asleep. So awesome. What happened was, thanks, cheers. But, you know, I actually did a video about this morning, and the message or the lesson that I learned from all of my challenges is that the universe gives you exactly what you need, not necessarily what you want. So while this was an absolutely devastating moment in my life and in my business, and I found myself in Thailand with no business, the coaching clients had all done a runner because nobody wants to get involved in dramas between two people. And so I decided to come back to Australia, but I was absolutely stone broke. So I had tenants living in my house in Denmark, so I had nowhere to live. I was sleeping on the couch of my girlfriend's parents' place in her dad's study in the fold-out couch. And I was halfway between Denmark and Albany, where there's no phone reception, let alone internet. And the thing is that while everyone was telling me to get a job, I knew that I had everything in my mind, in my own little university, that I could make it work. I trusted that I had everything I needed to change things around and to rebuild my business. And so that's what I started doing, just one day after another after another. So at that time, I didn't even have transport because my car had been in storage while I was in Thailand, and I let the registration lapse because I had been away for so long.
Yeah.
So I had to come up with $1,000 really quick to put my car back on the road. Once I did that, then I had a roof over my head. So what I was doing was living out of my car, and I would drive 30 kilometers into Denmark to use the community center internet for, those 6 hours during the day it was open. And then what I would do was the local tavern, and this is in the bones of winter in Denmark when it's freezing cold.
Yeah, cold. Freeze the balls off a brass monkey, as they would say.
Yep. So once the community centre closed at 4 o'clock, I'd jump in my car, go over to the tavern a few kilometres away and sit next to the hot roaring fire with the free internet and free soda water. And I would just bust out another hour and a half of work.
Awesome.
And this is how I learnt to create an online program and to create a funnel where you would give value to people. You would say, hey, I created a 10-day business booster program. So people would come into a Facebook group for 10 days and I would just give value every single day. So live videos, coach for free for an hour every single day for 10 days.
Awesome.
The back end of that was an online program that I then offered them the opportunity to come into. And so this is how I just started, one person at a time, two people at a time, to the point where I had 65, 75 people going through the online program that I built, that actually only went for six weeks after the initial program.
Right. Okay.
And it started working, and I just repeated it over and over. So I got to the point where all of my financials were all sorted. And then at that point, I made a decision that as much as I loved helping people through the lens, and prior to this, most of my business was, in fact, all of my business was global, and I would be, sitting in wherever, and they would be sitting thousands of miles away.
Yeah.
I realized that what I love doing the most is helping people face to face.
Yeah. Okay.
So where I had been completely global and I had never met any of my clients, now all I wanted to do was meet and build a relationship and spend time with every single client. And I know now there's probably listeners going, "What, are you crazy? One-to-one, you can't scale that, etc., etc." And yeah, I get that. I totally understand that. However, for me to wake up every day with a smile on my face and just think, I'm so blessed and so grateful and humble, I get to do what I want to do every single day. And that happens to be sitting down face to face with people and helping them with their business. So that's what I do.
Fantastic. And that was where this comes as a good segue into using the Meetups platform.
Absolutely.
To get in front of more people. So when did you start thinking, this Meetups thing, I could use this? What year was it that you got onto Meetups?
Okay. So this is only last year. So January last year, 2017, I moved to Perth because there weren't enough people in the Great Southern, I guess, who were committed and had the funds to build their business and had goals that they want to achieve.
Okay.
So I needed to find people who were really hungry for results and decided to move to Perth. Fast forward to July, through an invitation, I attended my first meetup as a guest, and I was just blown away.
Okay. So and what particular was it that blew you away?
What blew me away was a room full of business owners of all different types of business models. They were interacting. They were engaging in the presentation. They were networking amongst themselves. They were putting up their hand and asking questions. And for me, that was it. It was like, oh my God, I had people who were hungry for information, and I have all this information, and that just gets me going. Yeah.
It's an amazing thing, and I'm a firm believer, if you can think it, you can make it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people forget that, is you have an idea or a thought, I'm going to do X, or I'm going to create a course on this or that. And of course, obviously, you have to follow through and produce the course. You can't just stay an idea in your head, which is what happens with most people.
Yep.
And I often look at things that that I'm doing, and I go, "Wow, that was just a thought in my head 2 weeks ago. Now I'm actually running a workshop on how to do podcasting."
Absolutely.
And it was just from taking it from the thought to the actual action.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's amazing. And so you had all these people you were getting exposed to. So what happened from that point?
So I attended a second meetup. I thought, well, that's great. Let's just see if this is actually what I think it is. So I attended a second and a third meetup, and it was exactly the same. So I remember from my third meetup, it was actually at my friend Smith's place, and he was selling his book to people who were in the room, and there was a line of people with their cards out waiting to pay $20 to buy his book from him.
Fantastic.
So, 3 key components, right? People who are passionate, people who ask for help and are committed to getting results, and people who are prepared to invest in themselves and their business in order to get where they want to go.
Great. Yep.
So I left that meetup. I went straight to Officeworks. I bought my own little square reader. My brain was going like this. I don't think I slept for like a week, and I had my mission, I had my goal, and I had a tribe. And so that's how it all came about.
Fantastic. Now, I've just learned something there. I didn't realize you could get, so for those who don't know, you're talking about the Square, they're called Square, it's the brand name, the company name, the credit card reader that you just plug into your smartphone and you can take credit card. Okay. I didn't realize you could get those from Officeworks.
Yes.
So you just go to Officeworks and buy one, and then you go and sign up online for the account, and then you can start accepting credit card payments.
No, it's all done through a phone app. So you download the app and then create your account in there, and off you go. You're good to go. And
that's it. So you're basically up and running in 15 minutes?
Yep.
And you don't have to go through any approvals, or you can just start taking money.
That's taking money. Cool.
Yeah. And does it cost I'm assuming it costs to buy the dongle, the little plug-in?
Yeah, the little Square reader itself is about $59. There are 2 models there. Make sure you buy the $59 one, because that also includes a little swipe card reader jack that you can put into your phone.
Right. Okay.
And
tip.
Yeah. You literally open your account on the app. Now you don't even need the card reader. You don't even need the little swipe box thingy. You can just use your app on your phone.
Oh, just to input the credit card number. Okay. So, but that just makes it more simple and less time consuming.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
that's a good tip.
PayPass or tap and go with the little reader that runs off Wi-Fi. If you don't have that, you can enter the card numbers manually. You don't even need the rest of the equipment with you. Yeah,
it's great. I know they've been around for a few years now, but you occasionally see people using them at markets and things like that. I think it's great for small businesses. So that's a good tip. That was a good one for a lot of people who are thinking of doing that sort of stuff. So you got that and off and running.
Off and running. So I then sat down and spent some time identifying, I listened to the questions that people were asking, and I identified a skill set that I had that other people were wanting. And so began my meetup called Master Facebook Marketing for Any Product, Offer or Service.
Okay. And you've had a lot of those you've run. You've done 37 or something meetups in the last 12 months or more than that?
That was probably in those 6 months, 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
Over 50 now.
Over 50. Okay. That's a lot of meetups.
Yes. Well, it's similar to your story. So I started the meetup. Meetup announce your event for you organically. So you've got access to thousands of people in your location who are wanting help with a specific topic or skill set that you have. And I had to do the RSVP list as well and cap my meetups, because I was having too many people wanting to come along, and my lounge room was absolutely full.
Yeah, I've got that same hassle. So there's some tips to learn about when you're promoting on Meetup and on Facebook events and on Eventbrite all at the same time, and you only have room for 12 people and you end up with 20 plus like I've got. They're going to be shoehorned in the office on Friday. So But that's all right. And people keep still signing up for it. I'm going, oh, how do I stop this? Anyway, it's a good problem. There's going to be some people, and as you know, with any event where people aren't paying, even when it's a low cost event, and Brendan and I have experienced this a lot with workshops, so people just don't turn up. You know, it's a slightly cloudy day outside, or you know, something's happened that they don't feel well. I mean, I understand people have their reasons. But you need to keep them motivated. But this is one of the things with the meetup that you've mentioned, which I thought was pretty not extreme. That's not the right word, but dedicated is probably the better word. Is that you would phone each person? Is it each person who said they were coming to the meetup to introduce yourself and chat to them? Is that what you would do?
No, what I would do was when people attended my meetup, I would hand out a form, just a simple piece of paper, and ask them for their name, email, and phone number.
Yeah.
And what I would do at the end of the meetup was I would do the president. I learned how to use Google Slides, which is an amazing tool to use for a presentation.
And it's a funny story because we were presenting at our Netpreneur Summit that a few people in Perth had turned up to just 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
And everyone who turned up who was doing presentations was using PowerPoint, and you turned up and you said, I'm using Google Slides. And I went, what? No, I had honestly not heard of Google Slides, right? Google's got like a million different products that they typically will take and call their own or copy, or and I hadn't heard of Google Slides, and you thought I was taking the piss.
I did.
And the look on my face was like, I really haven't heard of Google Slides. But after, I think I sort of had, but I'd forgotten about it, but I wasn't familiar with it at all. But now I'm using it. And it was really cool because for those who haven't used Google Slides, it's free to use, and it's basically like PowerPoint or
better than.
Yeah, better. But what was amazing was as soon as I opened up Google Slides, it pulled in, and I'm still trying to work out, it must have been off my Google Drive that I had all these. It has found every single presentation that I've done in the history of my life, pulled it all into Google Slides, converted it all, and it's all working just like it would in PowerPoint. I'm going, oh, this is fantastic. Because I'd looked at a lot of them and go, shit, I don't even remember that I did that one. Like there was, over the last 10 years, I've done a lot of them. Yeah. And I was going, oh, this is good. I can use this one with some updates and some tweaks. I've got like 20 presentations I can do now that I don't even really have to do a lot of work for, just updating the content. And it's all there, ready to go. So anyway, sorry, sidetrack on Google Slides.
I remember going to a meetup, and it was in an office situation, and they had an awesome, one of those big Apple Mac screens.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like the big jumbo ones. And they were doing their presentation off there, and I was watching and I was thinking, oh, I really want to do that type of thing, but I don't have the funds for a big screen. What am I going to use? And I turned around and looked behind me, and there's my TV sitting there. And I went, aha. $5 HDMI cable.
Yeah. Awesome. Easy. Quick.
And that kind of thing, it's only, okay, it might take you a little bit extra to put a presentation together, but when you are giving value, not only in terms of content, but also in the experience of the people who attend the meetup, and then you've got your presentation, showing up on your kick-ass big size TV. It's just sometimes those little things that you can do when you think outside the box. They don't cost a lot of money to set up. Mm-hmm. Once you've done it once, then you just keep rolling with it. And that can be the point of difference between your meetup and somebody else's meetup.
Yeah, true. And getting people following and coming back. And I think that was a good tip about getting people to obviously voluntarily handing over their contact details, because that is available in Meetup. Because we did a bit of a loop out of that, and that was my fault. I got excited when you started talking about the slides. So you get people to put down their contact details, and then do you add them to a database, or what do you do with the details once you've got them?
So what I haven't actually done anything with the email addresses, because I think there's in the terms of services that you need to state that you're not going to email them out any marketing material.
This is on Meetup's terms of service. Yeah. Yep.
Yep. However, what I did do was at the end of each presentation, I offered to meet with people one-on-one to find out more about them, what their needs were, and how I could help them in their business. Now, initially, this started out for me as a way to find out more about my ideal client, find out where the gap was in the marketplace so that I could then turn around and do a presentation on that the next week. However,
Awesome. Yep.
What started happening was I would sit down with people, and this is another really key thing that I teach people, that I've done all through my business. When I sit down with somebody, I treat them as if they're my highest paying client.
Yeah.
So I don't hold back on any information. I don't say to them, oh, I can give you access to that inside my program, like just doing a big pitch or seed. So what I found was that about the time we've nearly finished our coffee, they would always say to me, can you help me? Can you coach me? What does it look like to work with you? And I was blown away, absolutely blown away, because I wasn't expecting that whatsoever.
Reciprocity.
Yeah. And
Yes.
that kept happening time after time. So in terms of somebody who's watching this who wants to know their numbers and they're a statistic kind of person, statistic, not sadistic.
Yeah. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. So if I ran a meetup and let's say 25 people attended, when I put the offer out for a free coffee catch-up, I would probably get just under 10 people take me up on that offer.
That's a good ratio still. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they would then walk up to where they put their information on the form and just put a tick next to their name for me to call them. So we would have a coffee catch up, and then I was having an 80% conversion rate into my $5,000 12-month mentoring program.
Okay, cool.
So out of 10 people that I would meet with, 8 of them would come into the program. And that's how I made the 6 figures in the 6 months.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that was something we hadn't even mentioned, is one of the meetup subjects that you talk about, is how to make 6-figure income in 6 months.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people may be listening to this and going, it sounds too oversimplistic. And well, yes, I think people complicate things way too often.
Yeah.
But also this takes a bit of hustle and groundwork and turning up. And I think in this era of digital, everyone wants everything just to happen digital.
Yeah.
But they're forgetting that people are craving the human interaction.
Yes.
I mean, what we're doing now is all great. You know, we can see each other on the screen and people will be watching this, but it's still digital. And you read people completely differently when you're sitting down with them in person. And there's a whole indescribable bond that happens that you can't get over this scenario.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, yes, webinars are great, things like that, and people hand over money left, right, and centre on webinars. But I think that is the ultimate connection point, is that face-to-face.
Definitely. And yeah, look, I'm not going to lie. While the Meetup platform, and I'm pretty sure they've just changed their charges and their pricing, it's still not a great, huge, expensive outlay. But
no, it's not.
It used to be $15 a month. So that was literally all I paid for. Google Slides was free. Well, I guess that and my internet.
Yeah.
Very little outgoings that I needed to pay for in order to have this funnel working. But it was a 7-day-a-week in terms of what it took from my time, 7 days a week for, I would say, the first 4 months of my time. So if you want a shortcut way to get this done, it's not going to happen. You need to put in the blood, sweat, and the tears.
Yeah.
You need to change up your presentations, have a different topic every week. You can also bring in other presenters, but still be seen as that person of authority and giving value to your customer base. But I would have traveled maybe 40,000 kilometers during those 6 months in going to all of the meetups. Now, I would go to Pinjarra I would go to Midland and I would go up to Queen's Rocks. If you're not prepared to do that, you're not going to get the same results. But that one thing where I said, yes, sure, wherever you are, I will come to you, can be that point of difference.
So just to be clear, the ones that you were going to, were they ones that you were attending as a guest, or ones that you were actually running yourself, or combination of those two, and also doing the coffee individual catch-ups with people?
The traveling ones?
Yeah.
Oh, no, they were the coffee catch-ups.
Okay, so that was where you would say, I'll meet up with you. So you wouldn't get them to come to you, you would go to them. Okay,
Look,
cool.
At least remember that I was in a position where I didn't know if I had rent money next month.
Yeah.
I still had loads and loads and loads of personal debt that I needed to sort out. I had to make it work, or I had to get a job. They were my only two choices.
Yeah.
So what would I rather do? Be it Centrelink, applying for New Start and filling in hours and hours worth of online applications, or jumping in my car, spending 45 minutes, traveling down the coast, a beautiful sunny day like today, sitting down, having a coffee with someone, doing my customer base research, my market research, finding out what people really needed. And the one common denominator that most people would reply back to me was they wanted to sit down with someone face to face. Now, loads of guys from over east come over to WA, and that's great. And by no means am I showcasing myself into their caliber whatsoever. However, when you spend a lot of money, like $5,000 to attend an event over east, you're in a room with a minimum of 200 other people.
You definitely, yeah.
So the one point of difference I had was that I was accessible, that I would sit down with them over a coffee, and that I took the time to call them, and I took the time to meet up with them personally. And that's how I built my business, my audience, and my tribe here in Perth.
Yeah, fantastic. And that's the exciting thing is, the fact of the matter is, we will have this podcast go out. A lot of people will listen to this and go, oh, that's great. That sounds like a good idea. And maybe 1% will go and do it. So there's a huge opportunity in this actual space to actually make things happen and do it. But most people won't. So
no, they won't. They won't.
No. So it's exciting.
Yes.
It's
Love it. Love it.
So Brendan, you've been very, very quiet because
I've been listening.
You've been listening. Brendan's going to rush out and do this tomorrow.
Yes.
Brendan already has too many things on his to-do list that he doesn't have time to do.
Look, I can see a whiteboard. I can see plenty of room in there for a couple of chairs in that room.
No, that's it's going to happen, is it, Brendan?
It's not going to happen. I'm trying to do less, Ed, not more.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it takes more to get less. But, Brendan's a digital man in a digital world, aren't you, Brendan?
As long as it's what you're passionate about, then
that's it.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm a bit of both. I mean, I like the digital stuff, but I like my time out with the humans as well.
Yeah.
Because I do a lot of networking and that sort of stuff, which is what brings in a lot of our clients. But at the same time, after I've had the human contact, I'm very happy to come back to my space.
Yeah.
Lois and Sasha and I are all like that. We're ultimately really introverts with moments of being extroverts. And a lot of people we tell we're introverts go, really? You don't strike me. No, we are like, if all three of us go out to something together, we come back and we scatter like cockroaches to the different corners of the house just to have our own space. Not because we're sick of each other or we just, we've got to come back and just decompress. And
you be you, Ed. Just be you.
I'm going to, Joe. I don't care what you say. So now we've been talking for, I think, probably about 45 minutes or so. Yep. So at that time we finished up, I think. But quickly wanted to mention, because this is a big topic, what we're going to be talking about now, and this is where a huge amount of people can take advantage of it. And this is sort of like almost the polar opposite of what we've just been talking about. And I think this is where they feed into one another, and that is online course creation.
Yeah.
So people who are listening to this, we've been talking about very physical turn up stuff, right? Fairly time consuming, as you said. It can involve driving around doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But that being said, a lot of those people who get exposed to you doing that then can become customers for what we're talking about now, which is creating online courses. And that is something you're getting into, and we're actually getting into a lot of as well.
Awesome.
In 2019, Lois and I are producing a lot of courses.
Yeah. You spilled the beans on a couple of topics. I'm really excited on what you're going to be covering.
Thank you. So, but it's not about me, it's about you. So let's talk about what you're going to be doing in terms of your upcoming 2019 courses. What's happening?
Okay, so as I said, over my journey, 5.5 years, I've always loved creating courses, whether that is hosting them in a little Facebook group or hosting them in a designated members area. Obviously, my coaching program that I was promoting through the Meetup platform, you know, there was 80% aspect of that was actually online.
Yeah.
And so what I love doing as well, as I said, creating the online program. So that's a funnel I'm going to focus in moving forward from here, because I know that a lot of people, even it doesn't matter what services they're offering or what they're coaching in, they miss the point of either having that lead-in opportunity for a potential client. So
yeah.
If you, for example, have any type of program or system that is over $5,000 or more for 12 months, you've got to have you've got to bridge the gap so that the person can have a little bit of taste of what it is that you're offering, how you can help them, and start building that relationship in order to move them forward into more of a premium type of client.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be running a series where I'm going to be educating business owners who feel that, oh, I need a studio, I need a cameraman, I need a whole editing suite, I need a green screen, I need all of this stuff, and I need to look professional in order to do this. Oh, look, that's all way too hard, I'll do nothing. I'm going to let them know how that's not actually the case. And I'm going to assist them in creating their online program. Again, often they don't know even where to start.
Yeah.
And teach them how to over-deliver value to the marketplace, build in another residual income stream coming into their business, and then the different platforms you can use to promote that as you build out your back-end offer or service, which is more closely to a one-on-one situation.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And the thing is, you can tailor that to do whatever you want. I mean, you could have it so that you're getting coaching clients, consulting clients, management clients.
Yep.
A lot of stuff that Brendan and I have been doing over the years has been managing search engine optimization campaigns, advertising campaigns, Google, Facebook, etc.
Yep.
So there's all sorts of different ways you can get people into the funnel using the courses. But it is true, and Lois has just been recording over the weekend some final modules for her course that she's got, and we're getting that all set up through the Teachable platform.
Okay.
I'm not sure what you use. There's a few different ones out there, but Teachable's a pretty common one.
Yeah.
And popular. So, but there's things to learn, and then there's a lot of people get put off by, as you say, all those things that seems very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And this is where I think the personal hand-holding coaching is critical to get people to the point where they're going to then go, oh, this isn't actually as hard as I thought it was going to be. Yeah. And then it's rinse, repeat.
Yes, absolutely. The key thing that you touched on, Ed, is there are loads of courses out there that will teach you how to create an online program. There's loads of courses that you can buy from, very small investment that'll teach you how to set up your own little studio, what camera equipment to use, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to focus on helping that business owner put the online program together.
Yeah.
And to offer that value to their client first before we get to the part of doing the recording. So strategizing what their business model is, who their tribe is, who they're best to help, and how they're going to help them, and then helping them to set out the modules, what's going to be in each module, teaching them that, how to create PDFs that are shareable. And so when they're first starting out, you don't even need a membership area. You can host this inside of a Facebook group or a couple of other different ways. You can send it out in emails, send them out little video series through emails if you wanted to.
Yep, for sure.
But the biggest reason why they don't start is because they don't know what to create or what the content needs to be. So that's the main area that we're going to be focusing on.
Great. Awesome. Very, very cool. Well, I'm sure we'll hear more about what that is from you in the ensuing months, and
definitely will.
We can update the podcast content in terms of the show notes if you've got any other links in the future for workshops you're running.
Great, thank you.
So Brendan, anything you would like to ask Joe at this moment in time before we finish up?
Not really. You covered a lot, so that was quite interesting.
That's why I said at the beginning, only 30 minutes.
Well, that was an estimate. You asked for an estimate of how long. We don't have any specific. A lot of podcasts do.
Yeah,
and I don't believe in it. I mean, I'm a follower of the Tim Ferriss show, and sometimes he goes for an hour and a half.
Yeah, right.
Well, sometimes it's 20 minutes, so he's all over the shop. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
And look, people can get on their podcast player and hit pause if they go, 20 minutes is all I've got time for while they're out, driving the car or exercising, whatever. And then they can come back. It's you choose how long you want to watch or listen to things for.
Yeah, put it on while you're doing the dishes. Put your headphones on, listen to me ramble, and get some insight while you're doing the dishes.
And then you come back and pick up from where it left off. It knows where you were. So it's really, I think it's a bit of a moot point, the actual time that people say you should only do a podcast for 30 minutes or you're never going to please anyone. So, to some people it's not long enough, and other people it's too short.
So
it is what it is. So look, thank you very much for coming on and sharing your content and information and story with us, Joe. It's been fantastic.
You're very welcome, and thank you so much for the invitation. Very, very grateful to have this opportunity to share my story so that other people who are in a similar situation, I know they hear, if I can do it, you can do it as well. But honestly, to come from, from where I have, you absolutely can. So I'm very humbled to be on the podcast. Thank you so much, Ed.
Our pleasure. Thanks.
And Brendan, sorry, you've been so silent. I forgot you were there.
Brendan, he's contemplating.
I'm actually just thinking, like, for anybody doing sales, like a very traditional sales role, outbound sales, the Meetup platform would be very useful, because you can kind of, instead of particularly people like cold calling or something like that, it's, a way to turn outbound into inbound potentially. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Use the tools and platforms that are there to your advantage.
Yes.
And as long as you do it in a manner, and I'm a big follower of Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's always constantly promoting value.
Yeah.
This is, people are too quick to try and make sales.
Yeah.
So if you're providing awesome content and value to people, that will be the byproduct of that. But you can't have that as the main forefront of it in this sort of process anyway.
No.
Different story to e-commerce, and that's another subject we're talking about. People are looking for something to buy. They go in the store, they see it, they maybe do some price comparisons, and they click buy and they buy it. But we're talking about human interaction related stuff here. It's a very different subject.
Old school relationship building, where you could walk down the road to the corner store and have a 5-minute chat, buy your newspaper and milk. That's business moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. Completely agree. Awesome. Thank you, Joe. Now we'll finish up here. You and I are going to be talking further when we're finished here, so don't disappear on us.
Okay.
Thanks, Brendan.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Brendan. Lovely to meet you.
You too.
And thanks, you guys, for listening to the podcast. We'll catch you on the next episode. Bye for now.